Who said you can't go home? Real Estate Exposed, brought to you by Signature Real Estate. Real Estate Exposed is all about helping homeowners and those who would like to be homeowners and those who would like to get into real estate.
Welcome to Real Estate Exposed, brought to you by Signature Real Estate and Prosperity Lending. I'm Brandon Roberts, along with Shelly Panzarella, and our guest in studio, who's almost starting to become a regular.
Yeah.
I think he's growing on us. His name is Chris Bishop.
Hello.
LVR just released its report on the local housing market for February of 2020. We set another record for local home prices, while local housing supply continues to shrink.
Wow.
Man, that's been the story for a couple of years now, hasn't it?
Yeah. They need a different line.
Different line. So our median sales price now here in Las Vegas for a single family residence is $450,000.
That's incredible.
Unbelievable, right?
What was that up from last month? 435?
$435 last month, so it's up
Wow.
another $15,000, or it's over 26% higher than February of last year, which was at $355.
You've had like these huge gains every month that you've talked about. I got 317 the whole year.
$317 the whole
that's all I
time you
kept
were
saying.
president. Yeah,
That's amazing. 26.8% from the same time last year?
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. And then, so the median price for local condos, townhomes, so we do separate those out, in February increased to $260,000. That also sets an all-time record, and it's up over 31% from $197,500 in February of 2021.
There's only 300 condos available in all of Southern Nevada.
Really?
Yeah. That's what it says.
That's
360.
active on the market now. And then,
Wow.
It's down 50%.
yeah. And then
Down
your
50%.
number of new listings, 2,950. So good stuff.
Sucks.
But we're still selling more homes, though, right?
It was up a little bit this last month over the month before. I don't have the exact figure, but just a small amount. You do.
So they sold 669 units, which, I mean, that's pretty typical.
Is 7% less than a year ago.
A year.
Yeah, for the same month last year. But the inventory is down 53%, while the housing market inventory is actually up same time. I think that's only a month stat, but a half a month's inventory in condos.
Yep, it's crazy.
So what do you remember?
And just over a half a month in single family residences.
And the last time this happened like this, especially in some of these master plan communities, we saw these major jumps like 40% equity, 50% equity in a month. It's scary.
When was that?
2006 and 7,
Was
I think,
it?
was a big time for that. When I saw, we never had condo prices that high.
I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen a condo price that high.
And this is when a lot of the big funds bought apartment complexes and they converted them to condos.
Yeah.
And so I think that we're primed for that again because, you take a $40,000 apartment that they're renting out, or now $80,000 apartment, and it's worth $260,000 in a median. You look at an apartment complex that has 800 units. I mean, that's massive. That's $100 million.
You think they'll all flip again? Because there's been a ton of construction on the, even on the Beltway, there's been those big, massive apartment complexes that were being built last year that
Yeah,
are
what is it,
fully occupied. Elzian or something? Elgin?
Luis's husband works for them. I can't think of the name. Elysium.
Yeah.
And they're
one up
building
everywhere.
lofts. So, I mean, lofts are nicer words for condos, right?
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
condos
that's like
with
a
no walls.
beautiful master plan, is from what I've been told.
You
So-
want a walled unit or a no walled unit?
76.8% of all homes are selling within the first 30 days,
Wow.
which is up from last month, which was at 71.3%. So market's hot.
Yes, it
It's
is.
on fire.
It's been for
Tom's
buyers and
shirt.
everything.
Brought to you by Tom's Shirt.
Where is Tom? Is he here? Is he on
was our
vacation?
guest a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
We're back in that multiple offers over appraised value. All that's happening again during this season.
yeah. So how are rates looking? How is that? Is it helping us or hurting us right now?
I feel like we still have the FOMO, fear of missing out. I still think that's happening. A lot of people are hearing that the rates are up, and so if everybody knows that pricing's going to go up, hedge against the bet, right, and getting in sooner. And so we have a ton of buyers that are pre-approved. They're having a hard time being one of the lucky winners and getting one of these homes to, and they're doing some pretty aggressive things to get into contract.
Yeah.
Over appraised values, waiving appraised value or appraisals, which I felt like we had that was a big thing when we started 2021, and it kind of simmered down a little bit, but now it's full
Right
force.
back up.
Yeah.
Waiving or making their earnest money non-refundable. I mean,
Yeah.
they're doing some crazy stuff to get that house.
Yeah. Which, I mean, even
contingencies
paying
are changing.
seller closing cost, which is, crazy. Like,
You can't get a seller to pay closing costs in this market. Are you kidding?
I know, but I mean, they're paying their closing costs now. The buyers are paying, which has never been something that I'd ever seen in the industry.
So the Russian invasion of Ukraine, is that having any effect on interest rates? Are you seeing that now, or?
It has a big effect on the gas prices. So the joke is that we're going to start to count the gas payments inside of our debt to income ratio, but it's not true. It's false news on
I
Facebook.
saw those memes.
Yes.
The gas prices are higher than most of your credit scores.
That could be true, actually.
I could see a buyer going to qualify and they run another credit check and he's run his credit card up getting gas.
Just for gas.
That would be interesting.
And I've heard on the gas, all of that with like the gas cards, you have to go in and get a double authorization because some people's cars are taking more than like $100 to fill up their cars. And so, I guess the normal authorization is $75. So we don't know about this because
'Cause
we haven't
have
filled
electric.
up gas for like,
Hey, but I had some tragedy this last few weeks because my charger shorted out and I had a
Oh,
whole
no.
big mess. And it's a mess when you can't get a charge. But it's a lot
Yeah.
easier than having it.
We'll just let that one go.
I had to plug in my neighbor's house and steal their electricity. Shh.
really? And that's a slow drip coming from if you don't have a.
No, he had a 220 plug, so
Oh,
it
he
was
did.
pretty
You're
good.
like, hi there, excuse me, just.
But we're
borrow
back
me."
up and going, so everything's good.
Yeah.
I had to get gas in my Jeep yesterday. It was, I only put in $50 because I wanted to, it was like
Because your
$5.25
authorization
a
would only do
gallon.
that much.
Yeah. But I got my discount for Vaughn's, at my gas station, and it took off 25 cents a gallon. So I was really excited about that for the 10 gallons I got.
Wow.
That's the funny. I've had actual people like that's what they look forward to right now is the rewards off of their grocery store
They're
shopping.
buying more groceries so they can get cheaper gas.
Exactly.
What I don't get, maybe I just am not that person, but so my aunt posted a video on Facebook about the fact she was at Costco and she was getting gas, so she took a photo of the line, and there's 6 lines, and every line has 12 cars in front of where she's at, and the people's cars are on.
They're running.
Like waiting for gas. And so I didn't want to say anything because obviously it's a problem, but yeah.
Did anybody run out of gas while waiting for
I don't know.
gas?
I don't know.
That would have been.
That'll be like $50 more by the time you get up there.
Is it bad that I do feel bad because I still have half of my household that still pays for gas, but when they're like, so my husband Wednesday morning or whenever they were talking about gas prices going up, he literally jumped out of bed in his pajamas,
Yeah, ran down and filled up.
grabbed his 2 mint chocolate chip cookies, just booked out. And I'm like, well, something must be going on outside. I'm not sure. I'm like going out, call him, like, hey, what's going on? He's like, well, did you not see the news? I'm like, no, I don't usually watch the news. Like, gas prices are going to go up over $5. I'm like, breaking news. So he had to jump out of bed to go do that. So some people are just reacting, I think, to this. Not reacting, but do you feel bad? Like,
Yes.
I feel bad,
do.
but
I feel
that's not
bad.
the right
I feel
statement.
bad.
But
That's the politically correct thing
Yes.
to say. No, I feel bad because I got a Bronco on order.
Oh.
And I'm going to eventually have to buy gas, but I'm feeling a little bit relieved it hasn't come in yet. Because now I can always say, well, I have a gas-powered car coming, but
Yeah.
I don't really have to pay the high gas prices yet.
yeah, but I mean, we were always, well, at least for myself, I was given a hard time because I, made the leap of faith into an electric car. And I always had to try to but the cost in gas compared to what the payment is going to be. But now,
It's looking better.
exactly.
I think the thing
Joke's
that
on
hurts
you.
is, I live in an area that's very close to a senior community, and you'll see people that will go in and they'll get small amounts of gas. Like you're in the pump before.
Yeah.
It's like $10 or $15. And it's like, where are they going to go? Pump 3? You've seen that on Facebook? The guy at pump 4, you only got $10 in gas, and it's like, where are you going to go? But I can imagine that if I lived on a very
Fixed.
small budget, and you're going to the doctor, you're going to the grocery
Post
store,
office every day.
and you're paying $50 to fill up your tank. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the thing that's bad. But for us as realtors, it's a cost of doing business. So it's a higher business cost, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna stop selling houses.
No,
So
that's because your median sales price keeps going up, so your commissions go up, so you're still making more money,
I'm gonna have a gas fee I'm gonna add to my commission now.
right? And yeah.
You want to see
well.
more than one house? Oh, that's a gas fee.
Do you think that you'll see more people do like virtual type stuff again? Like we were in with COVID where everybody was online just because they don't want to travel so much?
They might, but do you think you'll see more people, instead of wanting to take their own car, want to ride with the realtor again?
Or right at the
Probably.
client.
Could you pick me up in my house? That used to be the worst. You'd spend a half hour going to get them, then you go show a house, and then you spend a half hour taking them back home. And then they start meeting you in the office. Now they meet you right at the house, so it saves you a lot of time.
Yeah.
The other thing is, though, if people start buying less gas, right, and driving less, that means there's less tax revenue for the roads and stuff. So are they going to get worse?
I don't know. They can't get any worse.
Can they get? I was gonna say. I mean, our flower is the cone.
Yeah, state bird of Nevada is the construction cone.
Yeah.
I thought it was the crane,
Yeah.
the construction crane.
No, I think the cones have beat.
What was
Maybe
the other
not.
thing? There was that meme. Everyone's been freaking out with the gas memes on Facebook, about everything. And there was a couple that came out this weekend that were just cruel. I mean, they have these stickers of Joe Biden that they put on gas pumps.
Said, "I
and it
did
says,
that."
I did that. I mean, that stuff's just it's funny to listen to or see, but it's really starting to be crazy.
Yeah. So to answer your original question, I'm not sure that I think that with the gas prices going up, I think from the economic standpoint, I think they're going to be a little bit more cautious when they're lifting the rates, because they're supposed to talk this month to increase the Fed rates. So I think the initial statement was they're going to raise them by 0.5 point. I don't know that they'll go that high.
See, I heard that they would. Some economists, and one we heard from when we were in Salt Lake, actually thought that they would come down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to get aggressive on the rate hikes. Like they were planning like 6 or 7 of them. So
Yeah, while we're going through this today. So that could be a little bit of a benefit for...
a little bit of relief there. But it actually doesn't help us too much because we still don't have inventory to sell.
True.
So
Yeah.
I think the thing that about 6-7 months ago, we did a show on market stats and numbers, if you remember that, and what we kind of saw is the what could happen in Las Vegas. And one of the things we said was aliens or war, right?
Yeah.
So aliens didn't happen
Yet.
Darn.
Predicted it.
Yet. But we saw this war happen, and I think what's concerning to me is we see this massive change in inflation for gas prices. And I think it was Carter was president when they had the last big gas shortage, where they were people in line for the gas station and it would just shut down. Things like this change a marketplace. And so raising gas prices, I mean, California is like $6 a gallon, and if you stop anywhere between here and California, it's $12 a gallon or something crazy.
in the middle.
You go to resorts markets, and I think that people should understand that these things cause markets to cycle. And so, we don't have any inventory, but if these things get worse and they cause jobs to change, or, if you had a trucking company and gas prices went crazy like this, you can't operate your company.
True.
Well, you charge
and everything's
more.
affected by that.
Yeah.
which raises the
shipping.
prices of everything that you're hauling as well.
Inflation
And that's
and
kind of the evil
Catalyst.
cycle, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I mean, rents are going up, food's going up, gas is going up, stuff like that. Wages are going up,
But I'm not going to stop eating.
not at the pace of everything else. So,
Yeah.
what'd you say?
You said food's going up, but I said I'm not going to stop eating.
I should. So,
My gym membership didn't go up any.
It didn't?
No,
Came down?
same price.
Same price. They know you're going to use it less because you can't afford to drive there.
Oh well.
You've been
funny.
grandfathered in.
So
They
you
haven't
guys-
seen you in time. You have to go in to sign the new contract. They keep waiting for you.
I have somebody else with their photo because they use it and I don't, so they don't even know who I am.
That's funny. So anyway, we were in Salt Lake this week. Went up there for Region 11 conference. How many of those have you been to?
Probably 8 or 9.
8 or 9 a month. This is my third.
Yeah.
But Region 11 is, they break up NAR. They break up the country into regions.
13, I believe there's total. It
13
seems like that'd be unlucky.
And so we're in Region 11, which has us, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Wyoming,
In Colorado.
and Colorado. Yeah.
6 states.
And this year, VP of Region 11 is Rick Mathis?
Rick Southwick.
Southwick, sorry.
He's
Sorry,
the
Rick.
president of the
I know you're
Utah
listening.
Real Estate Commission right now, too.
He's what?
He's the president of the Utah Real Estate Commission.
He's a
as
good
well.
guy. He put on a
Nice guy.
good thing. So people from all the states in the region come out, and there's different presentations on different things. And So we had, and you learn a little bit more about their state and some of the stuff they've gone. So they had Brad from UtahRealEstate.com who runs their MLS and stuff like that, and he gave a presentation on MLSs and the things that are happening. One thing that he brought up was a change in appraisals. He said and he says, I know nothing about appraisals, but this gives some information on the way that MLS data is going to be used. He's saying you're seeing more and more desktop appraisals where they're not even requiring them to go out. And one of the stipulations is that they're wanting like a floor plan drafted out. And he said, so one thing you'll start to see in the MLSs is this expands that they're going to have to make room to put in
a floor plan.
The drawing of the floor plan.
Funny commercial.
Where would
already
you get
does
that from? Where do you guys get that from as agents?
So you'll probably start seeing services that'll do that for you. It's good business. Or probably deliver an app for it. Yeah.
But actually, Sales Track was famous for the fact that they had an archive of floor plans for all the developments that are out there, and that used to be a big deal. You put together a flyer with a floor plan, and then people started doing Matterport.
Yep.
And Matterport would actually do it for you.
Yeah.
But in commercial, whenever someone goes and lists a building for lease or a building for sale, a lot of companies have a department that just creates floor plans. And I downloaded an app. It's called CamPro, and you can literally take a photo of a room, and it'll map the room's dimensions for it. The only thing I'm worried about is, what if it was wrong? And I'm like saying this room's 10 by 10, and I mark it on there, and it's on the floor plan, and then come to find out it's really 9 by 10.
Yeah, and I don't think, and I could be wrong, I don't think the dimensions have to be there. I think it just has to be the layout showing it.
Overall layout.
So, but because what the desktop appraisal or whatever is looking at is all this information, and if it falls in this category, it gets there. But I think that's going to extend, which could really affect the appraisal industry.
I mean, I think there are right now. Actually, our client, she reviewed the entire appraisal of both of her properties, and she called me and said, I think I deserve a refund on this because one, it's an investment property, and so it's the same home, right? But the square footage is just off by maybe 50 square feet, and so he used the same numbers for the rental income and such. And so she's like, why would I get charged twice? But then as she went into it, she said it was very basic as far as the information that was in there. She's done appraisals before, I guess, in the past, or knows people that have done it.
She reads a lot of them.
Yeah.
Analytical.
And yeah, super analytical. But I think a lot of that is because, like you're saying, the desktop underwriting is happening behind the scenes already. And so there's not a lot, they can do some part of it, but then the desktop side of it is also taking over it inside of our approvals. So they know that they're not going to not that due diligence, but they're not having to go to that nth degree to do these appraisals like they used to before, because it's being done on these desktop appraisals.
And it came in $70,000 higher than the sales price.
She does deserve a refund.
I know.
But if you look at that, the more they can automate stuff, the more this could move towards NFTs or non-fungible transactions and stuff, right?
Very true.
So that was kind of interesting. And then he shared some stats on their website and different things like that. But I think the way the MLSs are going to be changing and stuff like that, it's going to be kind of exciting to me. Yeah. Or it's not just going to be data here and there. So,
well, I actually like the idea of measured floor plans because it used to be when you got an appraisal, the appraiser on a luxury home, especially, they would go in with their disc, that measure disc, and they would measure properties and confirm it. And then they'd have a second appraiser come in and confirm that info as well. And so the buyer felt really good and the bank felt really good about it. And I think you're right. I think a lot of times in our business, it's just, you've seen appraisals where they never went to the house, but they were supposed to, but they never did because you have the only access code to get in. And then you see things like the toilet's broken and you're like, how did he know the toilet was broken? That's what that was.
How did he get in? Was that in a picture?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want our agents measuring because that's one more thing they can mess up in the data and stuff. But were you ever taught how to measure the square footage of a house?
Yeah.
Outside, corner to outside corner?
We used to have to go in, like, it was when I started here in Las Vegas, every agent got a MeasureMate, right? And it was laser driven, not sound driven. And so you would actually have to go in and measure all of the major rooms of the house to confirm its size, because the MLS required it as a field, right? And so you had a data sheet that was like 5 pages. It had every question about the house that matched a field that you'd have to input. And so, you go in there and you spend like an hour in the house. I know that's weird.
Measuring and
You'd
all
spend
that.
an hour in the house actually looking at everything, and you'd write it on the sheet, and then you go back and you input your listing. And what's funny about this is all of the listings now are somebody's data sheet where someone just kept copying whatever was in there. And then the REO days happened and agents stopped going to property. So they just would find a model match and put it in. And we're finding a lot of data is just incorrect,
So you no longer have to put that, because the information's in there, right?
It's a lot of stuff's auto-populated.
Yeah. And you don't have to put in all the room dimensions anymore.
Right.
Like
I
you
think
have
they want you to put 3.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
It's funny, kitchen dimensions for a dining is required, but not the secondary bedrooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because who eats in the secondary bed? Oh, because you think it's important.
I don't know why it is. You have to put primary bedroom. You have to put primary living space in their measurements, and then you got to put kitchen as a field that's required. And so you have to put in information about it, and one of it's the measurements for its dining area that has it.
Yeah.
That's different from market to market. When I moved here from Salt Lake, we never measured rooms. We measured square footage of the house from the outside corner to outside corner, and we made sure the square footage was right, but we never did room dimensions.
Oh, corner to corner? We didn't have to do that.
Yeah. That's how you determine the actual square footage of a house. It's not inside wall to inside wall. But then here, it was all of a sudden we had to measure rooms. Yeah. And I was like, man, this is a pain. But
so you actually had to draw the diagram of the full outside layout of the home?
You didn't have to draw it, but you'd go measure it to make sure it was right. And then as things get going, that stuff starts to get auto-populated, stuff like that. And then agents would just do it so they look like they were smarter. So they're out there working on the house. And so, I've listed it with my agents.
So how did you do it? Did you have a tape measure you had to do it with? Like
Yeah,
the
tape
old
measure.
ones,
Somebody
the
holds one
100-foot
side
ones?
and they run around the whole house. Just
Yeah, just wrap it around 3 or 4 times. No.
Oh, that's
you
another
measure.
realtor. It's okay.
It was crazy. So, but now most square footage is populated off the county usually, and you don't have to worry about it unless there's an error. And usually there's only an error if they didn't get a permit and
converted.
put a room in. So
Yeah.
Crazy.
cool. And then, what was your favorite? There was a lot of speakers. Did you take anything away, or were you?
Were you there for 3 days?
a day and a half?
Oh, a day and a half.
It
Okay.
was one half day and then one full day of speakers. Here's the problem with regional conventions. They're supposed to be there so that when you're an NAR director, Brandon's an NAR director, I'm an NAR director. Thanks, Brandon. And when you go, you're supposed to get all the information so that you can go to the national meetings and vote on issues that are coming up, right?
Okay.
And you're supposed to meet national leadership so that you can get introduced to them. You can start, moving your way through whatever committees you want to be on. And they had Tracy Casper there, who's one of the incoming presidents, so that she could meet people to fill committee appointments. And then it's like nice to meet the other directors in your region. What ends up happening now is that you go and you get some type of random speakers about random topics. Like we went to Colorado 4 years ago when they legalized marijuana, and the entire conference circled around pot topics, not hot topics, but hot topics.
I missed that one.
And it was really interesting. I'm not going to lie. And it was at the Broadmoor, which was a really incredible resort.
Yes, yeah.
But it had nothing to do with Nevada or anything that we do, but it was cool to hear other things. And so for some reason from that event to now, the majority of the topics have nothing really to do with NAR leadership or that or anything else. It's just random topics. But I thought I've never had a regional statistical update, which was my favorite part. They brought this kid in from, I think he was from Colorado or Utah.
No, he's from Utah.
Okay.
University of Utah, one of their
He did
statistical areas.
stats on the entire region. So all of those 6 states that we mentioned, everything that's going on, and he put in some great reports and statistical data that they provided. And I thought it was kind of cool to see the way that other states in our area, our region,
Stack
are
up.
doing things. And that was neat. I really
So
liked
how
it.
do we stack up against the different?
Very poorly, ironically.
Really?
We were not.
With respect to
When you talk about job diversity and stuff, we stack up poor, very poor. When you talk
Really?
about rents and stuff, I mean, yeah, it ranked them, and in some areas we were higher than others, some areas we were lower than others, but we weren't really an outlier.
No, but we weren't number one in
was,
anything.
Our region is pretty consistent with a lot of different things. But yeah, I mean, they went over to average your rents and stuff like that, everything, your vacancy rates, everything. And so there's a lot of charts. There was a lot of information.
I like charts,
yeah
colors.
Colors,
Yeah,
lots
the
of
US
colors.
I like
National
pop-up
debt.
books too.
chart. What's that?
I like pop-up books too.
I haven't seen those in years.
One other thing that I really enjoyed there on the end of the first day, they had round tables.
Yeah.
And usually roundtables, sometimes you get some stuff, sometimes it's like nobody wants to share or whatever. But they did them in different things. And I sat at the large board above 7,000 members. And so I sat with other presidents that have boards of that size and just kind of shared ideas and stuff like that. It was really cool. It was good stuff.
So what did you take away from that?
Yeah.
And then we're doing things really good. We
Mr.
have a really
President.
good president.
Yeah.
No, it was neat just as you're talking and how people are solving different issues and doing things. It really ended up into more of a diversity conversation in the end, and some of the stuff that Colorado's done to get national news too on how they've structured their board and stuff. But it was kind of neat. And then in Arizona, one gentleman, they've absorbed 5 other associations and how they run that, and they do all that, and they've got like 25,000 members. And
Wow.
It's kind of crazy, the different things that people are dealing with, and how we get wrapped up in just thinking one way, and there's just lots of other ways to do things.
It's weird when you're in a regional setting like that. I always thought the cool thing would be to have like regional committees where we take issues and we attack it from a regional area, how to make it better in multiple states. For some reason, they don't do that. It's sit and listen, and there's no big interaction. And so this was the first time I've ever seen a round table, which I thought was really good, but they had no has-been table. Like they had
what?
local president-elect, you're doing this, but it was like, you're over, so go away.
Thanks for still showing up.
Yeah, that's what it felt like too. They had opportunity or affordable housing, but that table was full, so I had to go back to my room.
I would
No,
assume that was like a big topic, the affordable housing across the
that's a
board.
big topic now
Yeah.
in anything that we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I was at I remember all the letters, LVGEA presentation this last week too, and that's again, affordable housing is the big issue right now.
And anything on the horizon to fix that other than
Build more
everybody's
houses.
Build more houses.
Yeah.
So the governor rolled out a lot of the Biden bucks that they've talked about. They have $500 million that they've set aside for Nevada that they're going to use for different programs. But one of the cool things that's in that is that there's $40 million for land acquisition. And so I'm a land listing agent. I list land every year. And I have parcels that are sitting in outlining areas that would make perfect spots for affordable housing. The problem with those programs is the money never makes it to where you think it will, right? And you never hear about it early enough to actually do something about it. So I started making some phone calls to people that we know in state legislature or in counter groups. I actually have a meeting set up with the director of the program. So
Wow.
I found out about it yesterday, that they found an individual that works there that knows what the program is. And so they're coordinating to put together a meeting so that I can actually find out the details and be able to take it to some of those clients so that they
Maybe
could
help through it.
And it may not end up in a commission. It may just end up that they get together and they're able to build a track like that, and then we get the opportunity to sell the track.
That's cool.
But it could be really cool because you never see any of these programs actually come full circle.
Yeah.
They just talk about it and the money's gone.
Yeah, I mean, what would be the intent of that $500 million is to help home builders to buy the land or to open it up for a resource for land?
So get this. So part of it, they have $30 million set aside for retrofitting. So they're going to take a property that someone's living in, and instead of having them sell it or move, they're going to retrofit the property so it's more agreeable for them to stay in. So that's one of the solutions that they see for
I need a
affordable
renovation. How do you apply for that? Just
housing. I don't know. and it's slated towards seniors,
got a
which I
meeting.
think is good.
He's got a meeting.
I said you got a meeting, you'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess it's counterproductive to a sales agent, but if I had a senior in a property, they have an amount set aside for them where they needed to have, let's say, handicap accessibility
age in place,
done, or a stair chair. Is that what they call that? Or a stair chair. That money would be used for that they could apply for it and get it. And then they have like $100 million set aside for acquisitions of just properties, and so they're going to buy it for $100 million and then resell it to somebody for 30.
But how does that help the building?
Well, it makes it affordable.
Oh, so they're going to cut their losses?
Basically, they're subsidizing
I
somebody
got it.
purchasing
Okay.
it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's going to be a puzzle, and it's going to be a conversation for a lot of years. It'll be a big deal in our next legislative. I know that. But with inventory staying as low as it is, and being in and prices climbing the way they are, and being in a shortage of housing period,
Yeah.
I don't see they're going to have to do some things to do that. And a lot of things that get thrown around was like rent control and different things like
dirty
that.
word.
And dirty words. and I think there's got to be other alternatives out there than to stifle things, because I think a lot of that kind of stuff has an adverse effect on a lot of other things.
Someone brought up rent control the other day, and I think for some reason people think that a certain party hates rent control and a certain party loves rent control, and I don't really see it that way. I like the idea of being able to stabilize a marketplace for people to be able to maintain housing and continue to work in that community, right? But what I've seen of rent control in California and in New York and some of the others is that you're paralyzing the owner so bad that the owner can actually afford to maintain the property anymore. And you see a lot of these slumlord issues come up because, you know, the cost of the property taxes have gone up, the cost of the property maintenance has gone up, but the rents are set. And so for 25 or 30 years, I had a grandmother's a loose term, but it was a family relative through an ex-husband. It's a long story. She had a unit in an apartment building. The building had gone up to a value of like $10 million, which she couldn't sell it because the taxes on the income from it. But the person in the middle unit probably would be paying like $20,000 a month for this unit. It would like overlook Golden Gate Bridge. It was gorgeous. They paid $800.
Oh my goodness.
$800 a month. Now the downside is the property taxes for that area never changed. So she's paying property taxes, and the income from the other two units barely covered the property taxes and maintenance. And so, yeah, this person never wanted to move.
Right.
Why would you?
Right. Yep.
But she literally couldn't sell the unit because of some of these issues. Like, they're grandfathered in. You can't change that.
Yeah.
And so I don't understand it.
Yeah, you intend to do something well or good for the good, and there's always consequences to everything like that. The other thing you see, if you stifle the investment or the ability for a landlord to make money, you're going to have less rentals theoretically in an area, and which means prices still go up, or there's not enough housing
Less
for renters.
supply, right.
I think you also see less quality investors, meaning that you have people that dabble in the marketplace unprepared. And so when things actually happen, they're not prepared to take care of it. I mean, because
slumlord.
They're looking at the low, high risk, low offer opportunities.
Yeah.
And so
they didn't really have the money to invest in a property anyway. They're barely skimming by. And so now the microwave goes out, they're not going to fix it for them.
Right.
Or whatever happens.
Yeah.
Happens. Crazy stuff. So, but yeah, I enjoyed the regional, this one, much more than I did in Colorado.
You know what the best part was for me? The hotel. So usually with these, you get the crappiest room you've ever seen, like for $200. No kidding. You get this little cubby hole that you're stuck in for like 3 days, right? We check into this hotel, and I mean, it was the Grand America in Salt Lake.
It's beautiful.
Which you said was pretty nice. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. Man.
Yeah, that's a beautiful
If
hotel.
I got paid to polish mahogany, that's the place I'd go to work, right? Because that's all we saw were these people that were always out there like polishing stuff and cleaning up. The rooms were amazing.
Yeah.
Isn't it a historical hotel?
It's not historical.
Oh. There's
It's
something
built to
about
look
it.
like it.
Okay.
But it was built from the ground up, and it's not, I mean, it was built it was built around 2002, around the Olympics. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
It's
for
like a
the-
colonial
It's pretty
America
historical.
type
yeah,
style. They had high
beautiful.
tea in the main lobby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went for low
It's
tea.
neat. The rooms had a living room and a bedroom.
Yeah.
It's like I felt bad, so one day I went in and laid on the couch, just so I could say I laid in the living room.
Do you know what doesn't make sense either in a hotel anymore? And this is something you see in Vegas too. You know, like TVs now have become extremely cheap and inexpensive to buy. You can buy a 55-inch TV for like $300, right?
Really?
Yeah. No, you can go to Best Buy right now. They have
We
sales
need
all the
two
time.
in this office. Could we go grab two?
But the funny thing is, who has a 55-inch TV anymore? Do you?
I don't know.
You
I don't
measure
know what
them.
size.
The
Mine's
whole
like
point
80
is
inches.
like these hotels, they had like little 40-inch big TVs that they probably paid a lot of money. They bought like 500 of them.
Yeah.
But they're so
so
small,
small.
to look at. And
It's
you
like
come from-
this.
Yeah, it's like a small footprint, and it's just weird to go to a hotel now and you see this little tiny TV. And one of the coolest things about checking into a hotel was you got to rent movies, not the dirty ones, but you got to rent movies that were coming out in the movie theaters. That was like the thing that
Really?
you don't remember that?
Oh yeah. Inside of the yes, I do.
You remember that, right?
Yes.
I don't watch a lot of TV in the
See,
hotel.
I'm a huge TV buff, and the
I am
best part
too,
about
but not
staying
in
in a
a
hotel
hotel.
was you could watch
you're
brand new
right.
movies that are out in the movie theater.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Well, now they suck.
Now they say.
They-
But most of the
Probably
movies
because
going out
there's
in
no
theaters
movies.
now suck anyway.
Well, but it's been that way for a while. So now what the cool thing is that you can sign into your Netflix or Amazon or Hulu or whatever on your TV and watch the same crap you'd watch at home at your hotel room, and they'll actually sync together.
You
I
just
just
have to
wonder if
take your
people are
passwords
watching
out?
it after I leave.
I was going to say, you got to log out,
I
right?
gotta log out.
How many times does that happen here?
I think they actually reset them.
Probably.
You think so?
The hotel, yeah. Yeah.
And my point
That
of
would be
that was
smart.
that they're selling crap movies for like $30 that
Yeah.
you are free from your local cable company and on a tiny TV, and you're stuck because there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm the only one that thinks of that.
The things that make you think, right?
But
Okay.
you love the hotel, which is good.
I won't be back on the next episode, so don't worry.
Did you guys Uber or did you guys get a taxi? Or I mean, not taxi.
we did Uber and we did Lyft.
You did both.
Yeah, and
How do you pick
2
between
blocks.
the two?
yeah,
2
blocks. It was
blocks?
cold.
It was snowing the
It
entire
was a
time.
little more than 2 blocks. It was like 3, but
Okay.
but nonetheless, yes. So we taxied from the hotel to the restaurant in like 3 taxis, groups of us, and then on the way back we Ubered or Lyfted back.
There was like 18 of us.
Wow.
But it was hard to get an Uber.
Yeah. Because of the snow? Or
The
just
one guy
because?
kept coming
No.
back
Oh,
around.
dropping off, coming back?
It had stopped snowing by the time we got there. There was
Yeah.
snow everywhere, but no, the roads and sidewalks, they were clear. But there was a big volleyball tournament in town. I guess that's a big deal. I don't know. I don't play volleyball or watch it. Not that it's a bad
not that
thing. It's
there's
probably
anything
great.
wrong with
I'm
it.
just too short. And I tried playing beta volleyball in the pool, but it still drowned.
You couldn't jump over
Usually
the
around Memorial Day. So it was hard to get one. And I ended up getting a lift one night, and I think it was like $40 to go like 3 blocks.
Whoa.
So the prices were all over.
Wow.
But did you have a chance to watch the Uber story yet
I have
on
not.
Showtime?
I don't
The
have
second
Showtime.
episode's out.
Oh, really?
You should
What's
get
this?
it.
Yeah.
It's the battle for Uber, and it's kind of the story of how Uber came and how they go into the cities and how they had a battle to become
Over the
legal,
taxi cab,
so to
yeah.
speak, there, and some of the stuff that happened.
I remember all
it's pretty
that.
cool.
It was big here in Vegas, right? All the taxi cab authority was like giving them such a hard time.
Well, when they went into, I think it was Seattle, that was really big. They had people that were actually, the transportation guys would call them up on their app, actually take it, tell them they're doing it illegal, pull them over, tow their car, fine them, the whole bit.
I didn't know this, but you can't pick someone up for a taxi or an Uber. Can't pick someone up on the strip. You have to go to a hotel.
Really?
Get in, yeah. Because I always thought you could get in and out. Why not? Like any other major city, and in Las Vegas, it's illegal to drop someone off at just randomly on the strip, because I guess it's also a safety concern. Like
That's
they
for
drop you off-
taxis
don't
too,
get it.
right?
Yeah, and so you have to
Oh.
go to a physical location. Because I thought you could just hop out and start walking.
yeah, I'm like,
And they-
I'm pretty sure I've just
done
jumped
it.
out.
I've done it in and out, but I had an Uber driver tell me, he goes, it's actually illegal for me to let you out like that, and they'll fine me for it if I do. And I'm like, really?
Have you checked your Uber rating? They probably rated you low because you.
4.9.
Really?
4.91.
Yeah.
Liar.
No, it is 4. But why am I 9.1? What happened that caused me?
Because
Well, is that one time you wanted to jump out and he's like,
Did
no,
you-
you can't. It's illegal.
Did you throw up in someone's car, Chris?
You guys know I got reported in that once. Where did we go in San Diego? They reported me for not
For no
wearing a
mask?
mask, even though the
Really?
mask mandate was
That's how
lifted in
you
San
get a
Diego County.
911.
And so we asked the guy. I paid for the Uber that night. Never do that again. And we all got in the car. And before we got in the car, we asked the guy, "Hey, listen, we're from out of town. We heard that mask mandate was lifted in your county way before Nevada, and so we have masks. We'll wear them. What would you prefer?" And the guy straight up said, "You don't need to wear a mask. You're fine." So we get in the car. No one wears a mask. We sit. We actually have a nice conversation. He drops us off at the restaurant. We go in. By the time we're sitting at our table, I got notified by Uber that I've been reported by my driver for not wearing a mask. And now for the next 3 rides, I have to show them proof that I'm masked before the driver will show up.
Wow.
That pissed
So
me off.
Chris is not doing Ubers anymore.
Yeah, no, that really upset me because we asked,
Yeah.
And then now I have to show them a picture of me with a mask on. Now, what's to stop me from taking it off? But I had to do that. And they laughed. They thought it was the funniest damn
is
thing
funny.
ever.
I would have
And that's
too,
why my
actually.
rating's 4.9.
Exactly.
And
We
mine
don't.
is 4.94.
Damn it.
4.94. I think I'm in the same category.
Does it tell you how many rides?
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, not on Uber.
Not on Uber, does it? I know on Lyft it does. So how many rides have you taken on Lyft?
I've never
I'm
taken a
only
Lyft.
like 60
Really?
something.
I don't have a Lyft account.
See,
I'm
I
over
liked,
100 on Uber.
I liked Lyft. Before, when I lived down on the Strip, I took Lyft almost all the time.
Why?
I just thought the customer service was a little bit better. The drivers were nicer, even though they're the same. And I just had good experience. Like if something was bad with Lyft, their customers, they took better care of me than Uber. But 207 rides on
That's
Lyft,
a lot.
4.9 rating with a star. And
With
then
a
I've been
star.
riding Lyft for 5.7 years.
You have badges?
Yeah. This is the thing, though. I got a 4.9, and yet I just got a badge the other day that said rating, your first 5-star rating.
Whoa.
How can you have a 4.9 and only have one 5-star rating?
Well, because they're like 4.9.
But they rate 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5.
Oh, I see.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've done over 1,000 miles. I'm a marathoner.
Wow.
20 tips. I'm a top tipper.
Me too.
Wait, how many rides have you had?
207.
200.
And only 20 tips, huh?
Over.
That's
20
why your rating.
Over 20 tips. And
Over
five,
$20
5 years
in
of
tips?
Lyft anniversary.
Or over 20 tips.
Over 20. Well, when you do give your first 20, you get a thing. So
I
apparently
gotcha.
I haven't hit the next milestone.
Keep going, Brandon. Keep going.
I wonder how many rides I've gone on Uber.
Yeah, Uber doesn't give you a lot of your info, but they will under driver.
So Uber, you're 4.94. I'm 4.97.
Ooh.
I know.
You are always nicer than me.
Confirmed now.
Yeah.
I think, though, it was the one time that I had Maury in the car, and
It's
he
all Maury's
was
fault.
drunk and obnoxious. And
Yeah.
so you got to be careful who you ride with.
Yeah, for
'cause
sure.
they could ruin your rating.
4.91. What the hell?
You must be the same driver. Lyft and Uber.
I'm going to find out who it is.
I wish one of the things from the pandemic that I think was damaged the most was these ride shares. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just not the same anymore.
You mean when you
Because
share
it's
a car
taken
with
so
somebody
long to
else?
get there.
No, to like Lyft and Uber and stuff, it's harder to get them. They cost more. It just isn't.
Well, have you seen the price of gas? That's probably why it's
They're about to go up even more, aren't they?
exactly.
Well, you know what shocked me was we had an airport ride. We came in from someplace, and it was like $110 to go from the airport to my house. And there was no choice. I mean, we had to do it. We had no other ride. And so we go, and the Uber driver, I guess they're not supposed to do this, but she actually asked me, she goes, I'm sure this is prime time. You know, there are a lot of people getting off planes. How much can I ask is the ride that you paid for? And I said, $110. She's like, oh my God, that's crazy, because it's only going to pay me like 12 or 15 bucks.
Really?
And it's because they get the difference in some of that, and the driver doesn't get it
Wow.
because of the amount of rides that are out there. I didn't know that. I
That's
thought
not
they got a
even the
big chunk.
tip, because I've heard a lot about the controversy around the tips, but that's the actual fee.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Do they take a portion of the tips too?
Yeah.
crazy, huh? How do I invest in Uber stock?
Very good.
Right?
What else is in the news, Shelley? Anything?
Well, so do you guys hear about that Zillow Housing Super App? Can we talk about that?
Sure.
Because apparently that's going to affect lenders first.
Does it help you flip homes?
I don't know. I don't know what it does.
I think it
Asking for a
partners you
friend.
with. I think it partners you with the vendors in the industry.
Oh,
So it's for the consumer,
For the consumer, yeah.
and I think it's probably, this is my guess because I've just heard rumblings of it and I don't know much about it. But my guess is that Zillow Mortgage is probably one of the vendors in there.
On the backside
Rocket.
of it to pay for that.
is that?
Is Rocket? I don't know. Rocket's not owned by Zillow, are they?
I thought
No.
it was.
I don't think so.
No.
No.
Rocket is Quicken,
Oh, that's right.
hidden behind. Yeah.
Slowing.
Yeah. So do you think that'll be something that'll affect us, but it won't affect us as in lenders, but nothing for the agents?
It's called a Zillow Super App. Mm-hmm. Well, let's see.
It's probably going to charge me an amount of money to become a Zillow super agent.
It probably. So maybe I need to be a Zillow super vendor.
If you got a cape, I'd do it. With a big Z on it.
The time is now. It says, it's time we seize back assets and relationships that we have traditionally been ours. Exclusive relationships, listings, marketing rights, ancillary services, and now the marketplace, or the ultimate housing super app.
Yeah,
don't know
they
when that's
say
launching.
Zillow is betting big on the Super App. And
Do you know what Zillow's current stock price is? Guess. Don't look.
$50.
What'd you say? 92.
So it personalized search and find your properties for rent, get your pre-approval, immersive shopping, in-person touring, buy,
Somebody has
finance,
to do
sell, payments. They'll take it all.
So the answer to the question is 49.86.
that. Ooh.
And so what was it a year ago? Guess. $157. So it's
buy
gone
low, sell
down. It's
high.
gone down $107.
Well, maybe
in just 1 year.
the super app will make it Jump back.
Now's
in
the time to buy
Indifference, a
Zillow stock.
lot of stock has gone down recently.
Yes.
That's a huge, I mean, and yeah, they lost what, $500 million flipping homes out of the $4 billion that they had planned. But I mean, for their stock to go down $107 a share, that's incredible.
So we should be buying stock.
We could own Zillow.
Let's do it. That's all.
That's it. Let's
what else
see
you
if
guys
there's
got?
anything else. Come on. You can't give up on us now.
Well, we did talk about the age. What do they call that? Oh my God. Where it's taking longer, aging in place. You talked about, now homeowners are staying in their homes longer. So
What did you say?
Aging. It's called aging in place.
Aging in place. So
Yeah.
that's what we do when we sit anywhere, right? We're aging
No,
in place.
where as you get older, you start to, if you're not going to move, you're going to build up the hand, maybe some of the chair that goes up the
upgrades.
stairs.
So
or-
let me ask you this, though. What do you think the average time somebody stays in a house before they sell?
7 to 10 years.
Okay, so you say 7 to 10 years, and that probably used to be true, but it's much, much higher than that now.
Really?
Because more people are aging in place.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense, right?
Do you think that's because of a pandemic and I was forced to stay in my home?
I don't know, because originally Shelley sent me an article that was out by Redfin, and I said, oh yeah, you can skew any statistic any way you want. But when we were in Salt Lake, actually, that economist was actually talking about the length of time people were in their house, and it's like 13 years.
I skewed the number. I'm still in my house 16 years.
Yeah,
So-
she's the one that's
Horrible
dragging
real
up.
estate client.
Seriously. But I mean, to that, I like to think of that as far as our clients. Usually we're thinking 5 to 7 years we're going to be changing through buy, sell, buy, whatever the
I
case would be.
think, though, my grandparents stayed in their house for 55 years. Right?
55 years?
55 years. But my grandfather bought his house for $5,000, and it was 900 square feet. And by the time he sold it, well, I guess we sold it after he passed away, it was 3,400 square feet.
Whoa.
And, the weird thing then is it was affordable to add on to your home.
Yeah.
Right. And there wasn't as many regulations on building stuff correctly. But the whole point was you could just add on to your property and you had enough land, and people bought because they liked where they were located. Right. And so there wasn't a lot of this transition. And then I think that a lot of people did it because it was very cheap and affordable to move around and buy new homes.
Yeah.
If the market's going like this at 450, 500,000 probably by the end of the year, a lot of people aren't going to just jump around. They're going to have to redo the house that they're in or things like that because it'll be more affordable.
Yeah.
I think that makes a big difference in the timeline.
Yeah, and I think generational is one thing.
Yep.
But the millennials and the younger generation are entering now, and I don't think they're going to buy a house and stay in it for 15, 16 years.
I don't know, I
It's a
think they
first-time
will.
home buy. Typically, they're going to move up. You'd think, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, but now you can build an entire house from a YouTube video.
Tiny houses.
Well, I mean,
people are used to
But they
living
don't
in
even
shipping
stay
containers.
on the screen long. Like everything has to be so fast paced for them changing in their world.
I think millennials move though more often because they're transitioning into careers that are taking them other places. They're not.
Could
I
be.
think
That
the
could be,
older
see,
group is
but that's a
stable in career.
generational thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you might see these numbers start to come down as more of these people are buying.
Yeah.
So let me think here. So I moved here in 2008. I rented an apartment. I went to a house. I went to another house. I went to a condo. I moved to bought the high rise. Then I moved to my rental and then into another house. So I've moved feasibly 6 times since
08?
2008. So I skew it the other way.
But you're in real estate. That's acceptable.
I have
Realtors
agents.
move more
I have
often.
buyers today that are in and out.
You're
of-
just a bad example of all
No,
of
no,
this.
not me specifically. I'm talking my clients are like in and out of homes. They're buying, selling. Well, one because of the market right now, and they're taking advantage of the equity aspect of it, and they're just buying, selling. So
I think to be a good realtor, you have to have the art of selling them the wrong home so that they do resell and buy another one.
you really like
so
this
I'm,
house.
I'm going through the process of moving right now.
It's fun,
And
huh?
I hate moving. I mean, like, I feel bad for putting people through it, but let me tell you about the hell that is my life moving with my wife. And that rhymed. That was pretty good. So my wife is that person, and she's incredible, by the way, at how she does this. The military needs her, right? Because she orchestrates an amazing event. But the day we move in, the day that we stay there the first night, the entire house has to be done and perfect. I mean, decorated, fans in, lights on. I mean, everything's
Boxes
done.
unpacked and everything.
Everything. There's no boxes. There's no clutter from boxes. The house is clean. I mean, it's weird. Like one time we moved into a house at 9 o'clock in the morning, and my father-in-law was like putting in fans, hanging, photos, the whole thing. And by 9 o'clock that night, the house was done. It looked like we'd lived there for 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
And it freaks me the hell out.
Who does it? Does Amy do it?
Well, yeah, but she's like a taskmaster to all of us.
Oh.
And so like we get no rest until it's done, And one time we had to paint the whole house inside. And so that was being done while the movers are placing furniture. We're painting walls. And so thank God that our life has changed, and it's not that bad anymore. But like I had to get a storage unit the other day to take the crap that we seasonally use, right? I mean, like she bought 6 Christmas trees.
I mean, you could have bought a big garage and a house with a big garage. It could have been the alternative.
See? I mean, but I'm lugging this shit to a storage unit, and all I can think of going down the hall of this storage unit is, and I got this little cart with the wheel noise, and I'm lugging it down the thing, and I just see hundreds of these doors down this aisle, and I'm like, this is hell. This is hell, right? This is what it would look like. You're going down a hallway with a bunch of doors that are all locked. And it's full of other people's dreams and wishes. But I mean, I literally bought this room, and I'm going to pay $150 a month to store shit. I just don't understand.
I feel for you.
Don't pay for it, and maybe it'll be on an episode of Storage Wars.
No, but
exactly.
The worst part is, at some point in my life, she's going to ask me to go get some other crap out of this unit or put more crap into it. I mean, that's what I'm afraid of.
Well, the holidays, right? Christmas time is when the stuff will come out, and
we have like toys for kids that we'll never play with them again. We have old clothes. I don't know why you keep old clothes. We have holiday items. Holiday items are the biggest thing we've stacked so far. So that's at least a third of it. We have camping gear that we won't use again because we bought new camping gear that gets its place in the house. There's all of my stuff, by the way. That's why we have this unit. All of the things that matter to me and my part of the family are going to storage. Like I have this photo of my grandmother that was professionally done, and everyone hates it because her eyes follow you in the room. It's like something out of the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland, right? And my wife's like, that will look great in storage. And I'm like, that's so mean,
She'll
and she's
keep
like,
an
and
eye
all
on
of your
all
other
your
crap can go
stuff.
too.
She'll keep an eye on all your stuff.
Yeah, she'll keep it. Yeah, watch. You don't even need a lock.
Exactly.
Well, no,
She'll tell you if somebody comes.
There's a pile in the house of stuff we're going to give away, and then there's another pile, and that's all my stuff. And I'm like, because things that I cared about or I'm keeping because they're not allowed to be in the house anymore.
Here's the sad thing, though. People pay for a storage unit for years and years and years, and there comes a point when the amount of money you paid for the storage unit is way more than the stuff's worth.
But then you see Storage
is a
Wars, and you see
struggle.
some guy's Rolex that he put in a storage unit.
Yeah,
What?
Yeah. Happens all the. This one guy got $300,000 worth of artwork out of a storage unit
Wow.
that somebody paid, and then they either died or they
didn't pay.
became incapacitated, or they're in a coma. They didn't pay, and so this person got it. I mean, who puts that stuff in there? And then there's the bodies.
What?
Yeah, you never, there are.
It is hell.
The mannequins?
No, they've found bodies in
Oh
storage
my
units.
goodness. Wow.
That's where I'll be with the Christmas stuff.
They are in there, and
the picture of your
Cashing my
grandma.
Social Security checks, and I'll be in the storage unit.
Oh,
That's not going to happen. Your grandma's going to watch over everything.
She'll
Don't
watch
you worry
me.
about it. Exactly.
That's really upsetting too. I love that photo.
cool. On this day in 1997, Buffy the Vampire Slayer debuted on the WB.
Buffy
ever watch
the
that?
Vampire Slayer?
I watched a few. I wasn't
Did
a
you?
fan.
I never
Never
watched
The original
it.
movie was better.
Really?
I really
It
need
lasted
to
for
start-
7 seasons, plus it landed a spin-off series and several comic books. I never got into that.
No.
That's just your useless fact of the day.
So with that, it sounds like we have wrapped up the show. Or anything else? Parting words other than Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
No, I get this email. It's from The Hustle.
The Hustle.
Yeah, The Hustle. I subscribe to it, but it has good stuff in here.
Oh, okay.
Every day it comes. So anyway,
Does it tell you who's coming in as the next pro sports team? That's
To
been the
Vegas?
topic. Yeah. What do you think?
Basketball, right?
You think?
no, it's gonna be baseball.
They just had a
Where?
thing on the news. A basketball team's playing for here.
They're saying.
Oh, they're planned for here, but I sit on the track committee thing, and they've got a whole plan to redevelop the whole Tropicana Las Vegas corridor there.
Really?
And that the talk is that the baseball stadium will go where the Tropicana is.
Kill a
It's
lot of
so
cockroaches.
congested.
It's
Yeah.
congested there, but they're going to redo all that stuff. So I don't
make
know
it
what
easier?
that looks like or what that will be, but that'll be a big thing. So I know baseball is probably the first thing. Now, when I lived at Allure, the old Wet and Wild site,
Yeah.
the guy that owns that, there was plans to put a basketball arena there and
a soccer
shopping and
team,
all that
okay.
stuff.
That'd be better.
And then they started to dig the hole and then they stopped. So I don't know when or if it'll happen, but yeah, they keep talking about it. I think it won't be too long before we have all the major sports here.
Really?
Yeah.
Any predictions on that? 2025?
I don't know.
What are we missing? We're missing basketball and baseball and soccer.
I thought well, it's for the stadium, yeah.
Yep. Crazy
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep.
So anyway, that's that. So we've got the Super Bowl coming. We got the draft coming. They're talking about having another Pro Bowl here. Just get your tickets early because that's well worth it.
I didn't go.
You didn't go?
No,
You
I
got
had
'em
someone
early?
that gave me some tickets. It wasn't my thing.
He had tickets in the suite, and he just
did.
said, "No."
What?
Yeah, the only thing you do there is drink and eat.
Yeah, I would say that I was not that impressed. I mean, I couldn't even imagine going to Hawaii for that because it's really all about the concessions.
Yeah.
When we were walking around, it was busier outside in the concession stands than it was.
But you know how
at
it's
the
not
seats.
like when you went to Allegiant Stadium, I'll say that was kind of cool versus like T-Mobile. Allegiant had all of these different vendors that were like sushi. I mean, I never
Yeah.
thought I'd go to a sports event and have a sushi vendor.
And
right?
Yeah, would you eat sushi?
It seems
at the sports
fishy to
event?
me, but the whole
I don't
point
think they'll
was-
be back next year. I'm just saying the lines there are nowhere near what it is at Pizza Rock, right?
Pizza Rock was
Is
amazing.
Pizza Rock inside Allegiant?
Yeah, I mean, but they had all of the
Oh,
vendors
in
like
the
that.
in the club level section.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was like, I don't remember seeing that, but in the
We'll
nosebleed
throw you a
sections.
slice.
Yeah. You
Yep.
high rollers.
That's pizza and a beer. So
That's awesome.
anyway, we better go because we probably ought to fill up before gas prices go up.
Yeah, before they go up.
Or
I'm going to
Chris
go
has
charge my car right now. Well, if you like this, make sure you make sure you like this and smash the notification button. And with that, we're done. It's a wrap.